And I was like, these girls are going to give me COVID. I just know they go too hard. And I remember like not wanting to hug them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what was I going to do? I just told my girl to come live with me. Like, what am I going to do? A hug her or something?
Right.
Yeah. And then that was like Tuesday. And then Friday she got a fever and I was like, here we go.
So
here we go.
She got back on a Tuesday from Miami?
She got back like Monday. I don't remember. And then she might've come over like Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah.
And then that Friday or Saturday, she had a fever.
Oh my God.
And she's in her late 20s. So, and we didn't know yet, right? Like we still didn't know, like in your early, like if you're younger, it's not a big deal. We didn't know shit yet. We just knew if you get it, you might die. It's like terrible.
Right.
You know what I mean? So anyway, she got a fever and then it went away. And then a few days later, like she was fine for the most part. And then a few days later, I got a fever and I get sick every year real bad. So I started getting a fever and I was like, here we go. But I was in the middle of working the end of quarter for a sales job and I was interviewing for a new job. So like I was exhausted and working and I would just take naps throughout the day. And I was like, I remember I tell her, I'm like, so back then I told my doctor, I was pretty sure I had COVID. And I'll find the text, like a little app, you know, I was like, hey, I'm pretty sure I got COVID. She goes, why you say that? I said, well, I have a fever. I'm exhausted. Sometimes I have headaches and something else. And she goes, do you feel like you're dying? I said, no. She said, I'm sorry, then we can't help you. Jesus. I said, why? She said, the hospitals are full and we don't have any tests. So she said, honestly, unless you're dying, just quarantine. I was like, fuck, okay. A few days later, I lost my my sense of taste and smell. And so I had like a little litmus test. I had a jar of minced garlic, right? I mean, and I'd stick my you see my nose, you know my nose, like it's built for smelling anything. You know what I mean? I can smell bullshit from a mile away. And so I wish I used a better analogy because there's so many like people use. Anyway, I couldn't smell. So I called her again or I texted her. I was like, yo, I can't smell anymore. She goes, again, do you feel like you're dying? I said, nah. She said, can't help you. I said, okay. A few days later, my ex was like, I was on the phone with my buddies. Because remember back then, all you do was call people if you wanted to talk because there's nothing you could do. Yeah. So I was on like a Zoom call with my buddies, like a buddy happy hour, some bullshit. And she was like, baby, help me. And I thought she was just being selfish because I was on the phone with people. You know what I mean? So I was like, nah, shut up. Leave me alone. I'm trying to talk to my boys. And then a few hours later, she's like, please help me. I was like, ugh, whatever, dude. Shut up. I was being so mean. We have a very healthy relationship. And then like I did. So a couple of days earlier, I'd gotten really sick. Like one day, my heart was racing and I had a fever and I was really scared. And I didn't want to tell her. I did think I was dying. So I laid in the bedroom and I wouldn't talk because I couldn't breathe. And she thought I was mad at her because I wouldn't talk to her, but I just had too much machismo and I didn't want to admit that I thought I was dying. So I just sat up in my bed and prayed to God like I could breathe when I was awake, you know? So anyway, she gets sick. So I sleep on the couch. She sleeps in the bedroom. She woke up in agony like 4 or 5 a.m. And I was pissed at her because I told her we need to go to the doctor. And she has a friend who is a doctor and her friend was like, no, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Following morning, we call 911. She's in like agony. Ambulance comes. So yeah, I wanted to call 911 the night before, but her friend talked her out of it. So the next morning, her pain got even worse. So I called 911. We were in such a fight at this point, bro. When the paramedics came in, you know, I didn't really want to go I knew I couldn't go to the hospital, but I knew I had to be like, hey, so could I come to the hospital? You know what I mean? I knew I had to say that. And then they were like, you know, you can't because of COVID. And she goes, I don't give a fuck. Take me to the hospital now. So she goes to the hospital and several hours later, she called me and she was like, I tested positive for COVID. And I was like, I fucking told you, dude. She was clowning on me the whole week. We don't have COVID. You're just being a bitch. You're just being a pussy. You're a little sucker. Like, she's very nice to me. So I couldn't have been happier that she tested positive for COVID. I swear to God, dude. I couldn't because I was right. You know what I mean?
I know, 100%.
Happier that I was right.
100%.
After that, I was concerned. I called her father and I said, you know, your girl has COVID and he hates me too. So he was like, cool, bye, hung up. was very nice. Anyway, yeah. So that's when I knew I had COVID. I still didn't test I never tested positive for it. I tested positive for the antibodies like a month later once they had those tests, but I wasn't allowed to go in because again at that time you were dying or you weren't, and that was it.
Romance, throw itself off the 30th floor, get up, wipe yourself a look and shame